Hi, hello, welcome back. Today, we're starting a new kind of video series that I'm very excited for. We're going to be painting a live painting based on some real objects, and I'm very excited for you to be joining me. I would love for you to follow along as we embark on this exciting new chapter for the channel. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the key to a good painting is good source material. So to that end, I'm going to make a composition based on some objects that I own, and we're going to paint them together. Ready? Here we go. Aren't they beautiful? Okay, so we're going to take a few, and we're just going to make a little composition for ourselves, and we're going to paint it. What if we, hear me out, what if there was a man on a horse, of course, and let's see, good. Go, a dress, no, side saddle on a horse, okay. Sure, falling off the horse, let's see if I can get the arm around here. Okay, okay, good. Yeah, good, maybe this little number. Too complicated? Oh! They're old and fragile, okay. Maybe this. Look at that. That's it. Okay, wait. Oh, gee, okay. Okay, I think this is my final composition. So go ahead and take a screenshot, and you can make your very own version at home as you follow along. Okay, let's begin. For this paint along series, I'm going to be using my personal store of paints, and actually I started using student grade paint because when I teach, I want to make sure that how I'm teaching people to use materials aligns with my toolkit. I was using Golden, but Golden doesn't sponsor me yet. So the names are going to flash at the bottom of the screen as I say them, and I'm also going to show you as I glove up. So I use a warm and a cold of each primary color. I have a lemon yellow or a primary yellow. Then I also have a cadmium yellow. It's more of a warmer yellow. So I have a warm and a cool yellow. The same is true for my reds. We have a cadmium red, or this is called fire red, whatever you can find on Blick. I have a magenta as well as Alizarin Crimson. So I always want a warm and a cool red as well. I also have this Venetian Red, more of like a brick red. Sometimes comes in handy. And then a warm and a cold blue. So in this case, I have a Phthalo Blue and I have an Ultramarine, along with our classic titanium white. So in my opinion, you can mix every single color on the color spectrum, including chromatic black, with the warm and cold primaries and white. That's all you need. If you'd like, you can buy all these really specific colors, but honestly, you can just mix them with what we have here. So those are the materials. These are the safety measures to guard my hands. Let's get into it. So the first thing I need to do is match my scene, which has an alizarin crimson. So I'm going to start with my primary red or cad red, whatever your red is, and then just introduce a little bit of, let's go with ultramarine. And so that's going to give us this kind of maroon color, or this alizarin crimson, which we see here. Brush, paint. I'm going to introduce some medium as well, just to make sure it spreads easier. And then we're going to paint. Okay. So I'm just going to do a base coat. I'm going to get all the white off of there. And we're just going to have some fun today. So again, follow along with me as we do a start to finish painting in one go. I'm holding it with one hand to keep it steady because this initial part is very physical. Glob, glob, glob. Spread, spread, spread. Ooh. More paint. And the point of this is to have fun. We're not trying to be too precious about this needing to be anything that we are planning on exhibiting. The point of this is to unwind, relax, have some fun together in the studio, and just push the paint around. And if a good image comes out of that, great. But we're gonna have a great time even without that. And if you get stuck in the middle, don't worry. All you have to do is practice to improve. And so that's what this process is for. We're starting our doll wall. Look at that. That's good. That feels luscious. Similar color and everything. Good. And we might even do some wet onto wet. We're not going to wait for our acrylic to dry, although it will dry quickly. But we're just going to let the paint fly. And for these group of paintings too, if you want to reuse an old painting, if you want to gesso over something you're not super happy with and try again, that's what this is for. You can see I've done that with this one. There's an older image on here, but we don't need it anymore. So we're starting again. That's the nice thing with paint. You can always erase, which is to say paint over it. Doll wall. We're starting our doll wall together. More medium. Ooh. We just want to cover the surface and make sure there's no white left so it's not competing with our highlights. Push that paint around, cover that surface, establishing a ground for our figures to live on. All right, I'm going to try, I think I'm just going to do a bit of a zigzag. You don't want to push too hard because then you start to see this shadow from the stretcher bar. So we want a lighter touch. I'm just going to do small circles to make sure we can kind of make that disappear a little bit. So we've got a very textured surface here now. And honestly, that's fine because we're going to build up parts of the image and there's going to be an economy of marks, a hierarchy of lines. And I've still got a bit of a shadow here, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to put a horse in there. Speaking of the horse, so I'm looking at it and I'm trying to work back to front, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I think we're going to put the shadow of the horse and of the rider up first, and then we'll block in the rest of them. So let's do that. So now I just need a darker shade of the same maroon, so I'm just going to introduce a little more blue into my blue-red mix. And again, and again, that's ultramarine and red, although I've just put down some phthalo. And honestly, we're just going to go with it. I'm sure it will be fine. No, it'll be fine. Okay, I'm like mixing it. I'm looking at it. You don't need to see it. It's fine. Again, we're having fun. This is supposed to be a fun time as we're doing some visual problem solving. Okay. Shadows. If I was a horse head, I'd be here-ish, and I'd go down here-ish, and then I'd come over here-ish. And if I was a horse rider, I'd kind of be flopping it over here. Maybe I'll throw an arm out there. Something like that. We're just implying a shadow. If I really wanted to, I could go in again with a more opaque, more solid paint, but this is giving us what we need. Now I think the next thing we need back to front, I think is gonna be the rider, but I want to at least loosely block in my horse. So let's get a different brush and just block in just the indication of a horse. And then we're going to do a second coat on it later. So I'm just going to take some of my titanium white. And this is going to turn a little light magenta because the paint's still wet, but we're going to go over the horse again later, so it's fine. Okay? Looking here. I'm also looking over my shadow. I need the horse now to match the shadow. So let's say, what shape is the horse head? Okay, ready? Boop. I can already tell this is going to be very fun. Boop. And then neck. And then we're just going to fly off the page here. The horse, we're doing a bit of a close-up. And you can always just crop the image to where you need it to be to make a better composition. We're not married to the actual source material, needing to try to force everything in there if it doesn't make sense. So I've got that, and it's a little thicker because it's a horse body, of course. Wow, already, this is going to be a very fun painting. And send me yours. I'm very excited to see what you all do. Okay, now we're going down. Good. Maybe even down here too. Yes. Good. Do we do the horse thing? The rocking horse? Sure. I wonder, I might not. I don't know. Now I feel like I have to follow through because this makes no sense otherwise. I want our audience to know that it's a horse. Okay, so initial horse, and you can see how this shadow now, we've pushed that back, so now there's a three-dimensionality to the horse, even though this is just a base coat. So now we're going to cram in our Baron, as I'm just impulsively choosing to refer to him. And he's a pink, he's pretty pink, but I'm going to take some of my Venetian Red. And I want some different tones. I don't want him to look just like the horse, so put a little Venetian Red, or you can just use your Cadmium Red, it's fine. With some white, and you can mix on your palette. I'm just mixing with my brush instead of a palette knife, which is not recommended per my usual advice. But again, this is a light demo, and we're just having fun and keeping the rhythm up. So I've got the heads here, the shadow, so he himself, so angry looking. He needs to be here-ish. I'm just going to wiggle my brush because he's got a lumpy head. And we'll stick an ear on there. Good. Where are his arms and hands? Okay. Got a small hand here. And I've got a shadow here too, so we're just going to do hand there. And he's mostly just wearing black. So to get a quick black, I can just mix Phthalo Blue and Cadmium Red, and then just throw a little bit of yellow in there. Just a little yellow. But mostly you just need a dark purple that you throw some yellow into, and since they are complements, it will turn black, essentially. Ooh, this is kind of green, but that's okay. Listen, I can color match, but that's not the point of this, essentially. You just need to get in the ballpark, because again, our source material is just a jumping off point. Okay. He's got a lot of shape to him. He's got kind of this pear shape or apple shaped body. So I'm not going to give him a lot of neck. I'm going to come in here and just press down, wiggle my brush, throw. I want to maintain the integrity of the horse head, so I'm not going to go over that too much, but I am going to make sure that I hug the neck there. And then I'm just going to pull down. I'm going to leave a little bit of red from the background there to maintain that three-dimensional effect of space. But then I will just pull in here, wiggle that brush in there. Yeah, good. And I guess he's wearing pants. Let's throw a little more blue on there. Into the black that I already had, just to say, hey, it's got these pant things too. Ooh, yeah, see that? Boom. And then he's wearing a tan. Should I go bright yellow? No, let's go smaller yellow. So this is a raw Sienna Yellow. 2 of each color, plus sometimes I do a 3rd shade if I want something softer. And so this raw Sienna Yellow is like a softer yellow. Let's switch brushes, because I already have a loaded brush, and that's just going to mess up the color. Observe. I can put these wherever I want, and that's the exciting thing about painting is you get to decide. You are the architect of this world that you get to make. No one can tell you what goes. You get to decide. In the studio, you are completely free. I'm going to just throw a tiny bit of this to imply the other leg back here. Just a dash like that. That's all I need. And in fact, any more and it might start mixing on my brush. Shoes, he's got shoes. Let's go back to our second brush that we had. Throw something on there. And then I can just go like this. Boom, shoe. And I can apply a shoe back here too. Oh no! Well, it's okay, I'm gonna go over that again. And I might even go over it with, let's go even darker. Just really gonna pull in this like color just to put some bottoms on these shoes. Boom, boom, boom. You get it. Let's define this shoulder. Good. We've got a fancy shirt on too. Let's do some cuffs here. And so we're kind of sculpting in with lights and darks at this point, right? I'm implying where shadows are. I'm sort of giving body, form to this guy. There's some squiggles on here. You know, loose. We're using our brush. We're making some marks. We're giving dimension and definition. Now let's sculpt more of the face. I'm going to move down to a bit of a smaller brush because I've been working with these big boys. But now it's time to upgrade and dial in. Okay, so here's what we're working with now. I've got a midtone on the face. Now it's time to define the face. And the best way to do that is going to be to put in lowlights and highlights. We're going to sort of sculpt with the paint. So I'm going to do it easily. I'm just going to take my Venetian Red and apply it raw without mixing it with anything. And I'm looking at my unhinged figure there. Sort of in the middle here, I'm just going to give myself an initial indication of where the eyes go, as well as the ear. So boom, boom, that's the ear. I'll throw a little bit down here too. There's a double chin down there and down there. Our cast light is this way. So we've got a big nose over there. Let's just do that. And then big cheeks over here too. There we go. Yes, and a face is forming. Did I get everything? It's a bit of a shadow there. I think I can pull this all the way around now. Great. Low lights achieved. Now, we're going to add a bunch of white to this, and we'll do our highlights, and then we'll go in and draw on the rest of it, because it's a bit of a cartoonish face the way that these dolls are made. Now, you may be wondering, and you may be wanting to ask me, Cooper, where did you get these dolls? And you know what? That's none of your business. That's none of your business. The point is I have them. And you know what? We're going to work with them. So cast light this way. Cheek's going to be over here. Nose is there. Ooh. Cheek, I'll highlight there. Those like brows here, maybe a little more here. And the forehead usually gets wrinkly, so we'll just leave that. Ear here, ear over there. Let's define these hands too while we're over here. And the hands don't matter so much, so I can just imply them a little bit, you know. I'll apply them a little. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm not careful, I'm going to overwork it. Yeah, I'm going to just hold these down a little more. Yeah. once you start to push them around, the highlight gets diluted, which can be a good thing for blending. So good. I can't wait to see how yours turn out because this is already pretty unhinged. Great. Now we can see now that there's some black lines that kind of define a lot of the face. So we're going to throw that in. And mine's a chromatic black, so it's not going to be exactly black out of the tube, which is fine because the black out of the tube has a tendency to look a little stale. It's almost like they tried to cartoonize them with these like black marks, which is interesting. I'm looking back and forth, and I'm putting in these anger marks, and I'm looking again, and I'm seeing that for some reason there's this line all the way across. Not really sure why that is, but hey, I didn't make the dolls. I just acquired them. Anyways, there's a couple more of these marks. Good, we're getting close. Let's throw, I don't know, let's throw that in there to confuse people. And then one of these too. And now the last thing is the eyes. The eyes on these dolls are insane because they're just like full like color balls with like metal pins in them. I've never seen anything like it, which is why I acquired them. So I'm gonna put the eyes in just a big circle. Oh yeah, how terrifying. There's a little hair too, so let's just throw some hair in there. Eyebrows as well. The eyebrows are crazy. We're gonna put them in like that. Yeah, good. And now we're gonna put the metal pins in. We're gonna start with a mid-tone gray, and then we're gonna put a highlight on it to make the metal reflective. So boom, boom, excellent. This looks crazy in a good way. I'm just gonna put a highlight on now. And there it is. That's all you need. Also, what color is his shirt? Let's do a different yellow for the shirt. We're gonna do this like cadmium yellow for the shirt. It's not the same color, but I want it to be different than the yellows we've already applied. So I'm gonna pull all the paint off my brush and follow the guidelines I already set for myself with my initial shirt design, blocking that in. And maybe I'll even imply that the shirt is there too and comes out of the sleeves. Yeah. Wow. I'm just noticing now also, maybe you caught it already, he has this like really red lips, and in fact all of the dolls do. So we're just gonna really quickly throw on the like lipstick essentially. So here we go, ready? Yikes. Now that came out pretty drippy. Am I gonna change it? No. Now we're almost done. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the second coat on the horse. And actually it's really easy because all we need to do now with the horse is put a second coat on, and that will just already like throw the shadow on without having to do an extra step. Okay, home stretch. Second coat of white, here we go. A titanium white. Oh, I'm running out of white. I have to order some more. If only Blick would send me some white paint. Anyways. Okay, white paint. I'm looking. Cast light this way. So I want to honor that with my shadows. So I'm going to start here and watch what happens here. First of all, we need a horse ear. I'm going to second horse ear, and I'm just going to pull this down and kind of go like that and leave that there because now we have a shadow. Pull this over, and I want to go over this foot. And we'll leave a little bit over here from the horse too. There we go. So this is great because now we're just blocking in with marks, and the shadows are forming organically. Sometimes you're going to mess up, but you can just zhuzh it. Making sure generally I have the right shape. Yes, I do. Throw that all the way in. Good. Leaving that for the eye. And the rest of this horse, you can mostly just plop on with that second coat to make it more solid or more opaque, as we say in the biz. Here we go, ready? Good. Now I could also use this as an opportunity to put a second coat on these pants. And sure, why not? Just real quick, see this? The paint's still wet, so it will just react to my mark. Boom, done. Shadow, shadow, consistent. And I could even, while I'm here, just throw on something for these shoes if I really wanted, like, no, too much. Oh no, we overworked it, what do we do? Paint over it, doesn't matter. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, just push it out, try again. You can always paint over it. You can always erase, add, darken it again, especially if it's light, you can just darken it. Look, I can go over it right now. Voomp. Although that's not dark enough. So now I look like a fool, but not for long, because again, paint. When in doubt, paint to the rescue. Ready? There it is. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. That's fine. Throw that on there. It's fine. Last thing I need to, this is the very last move of the painting. We're going to put the drawing marks on the horse head. So I need my brush, my small brush. Stand by. Small brush. Looking at our reference one more time. Ready? Put a horse snout on there. Generic horse eye. And then we're going to sort of imply this horse hair. And it's not going to look very good because the horse doesn't. It's a very crudely made horse. I'm going to do that. And then when I get to the lighter part, I'm going to make it lighter so that we maintain that effect of the shadow. See that? Good. And I go back over there and I look, I redarken my brush. I want to make sure that I've kind of generally maintaining a consistent illusion. Is there anything else I want to put on there? Oh dear. No. Here. That's what we want. As I'm looking at it, I think it needs one more thing. I've got this extended arm, and he's looking down, and so I think I'm going to put a carrot in so that he's sort of taunting the horse. I think that would be kind of fun and we kind of complete the piece. So let's put a carrot in. And in your own paintings, I encourage you to exercise what's called your artistic license, which means you get to decide how best to make a pretty picture that can depart from the source image or source material as much as you want. So, carrot time. New catchphrase? No. Just a little cad yellow and a little cad red. We'll make a little, just a little red though. We're gonna make a nice light orange. Mix that right up. And this is gonna be lighter, so I might have to do 2 coats because it's not gonna be, lighter colors are weaker and so they're more transparent. Okay, I think we'll start it here. Here, let's say, yeah. Just out of reach of the horse's mouth. Now, as you can see, pretty light. Not really that much happening, so we're gonna put some white in and see about, because I'm impatient, we're gonna see about just zhuzhing that, making it a little more easy to see. But I want to maintain the integrity of that nice orange. And every time you add white or black to something, it gets a little more diluted. If you add white, it's a tint. And if you add black, it's a shade. And each of those makes it more neutral, less vibrant. So I don't want to do a bunch of that, but I do want to do enough to where it reads as a carrot. I think we get that. Should I put another carrot in? Should we do 2 carrots? Sure, why not? Put another carrot in. Or at least I'll just beef up this one on the side. Yeah, there we go. I might even just put more red in there. More red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, could be oranger. I could do a second coat to make it even oranger. Well, let's put in the stem, a green stem, and then we'll call it good. Green stem, a lot of yellow, just a little blue. We'll get a nice vibrant green going. Pull all the paint off my brush. And I'm doing what's called alla prima, which is mixing the paint on the canvas for this. So plop that in, and I'm just gonna make it loose and kind of bushy so that you know it's going through the hand. Should I do another one? Sure. Let's kind of throw it in, yeah. And I might even throw some blue on there just to give it a little form. So again, cast light this way. So we're just gonna do boom, 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 and then just throw something in there. So that's enough to kind of give our viewer, to let their brain sort of complete it, let them know, okay, yeah, there's something happening there. There's something being held, and it's got form because of the cast light. So, congrats. You've just created your very own doll painting. And I'm so excited to see how yours turned out. If you'd like to share your work so that I can post it on the next episode, feel free to email me at coopersalmonart@gmail.com. Great job. Thanks for tuning in and painting along and sharing this moment with me as we made a fun painting. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much. Have a great one. Bye-bye.